Hello and welcome to More Talks. I am W.C. Moore. This is a press conference that Pelosi does weekly. This one was done on October 12th, 2021.
I want to just report on a very important visit that I had the end of last week and over the holiday weekend. As you may some of know, climate issue was my flagship issue when I was Speaker the first time, when President Bush was president, and we passed the biggest energy bill in the history of our country, some of which was used as authority by President Obama when he was president for executive orders.
Executive orders should never be allowed. Congress is the one who writes the laws and not the president.
Regarding climate and energy. We weren't able to pass the legislation for climate, needing 60 votes in the Senate, but it has always been of the highest priority.
Well, if you're not able to pass it, then do a better bill. That's what the Senate's there for, to make sure that, in theory, to make sure all the good bills get through. It's to talk about it and weed out the garbage.
And so this weekend, I had the end of last week and this weekend, had the privilege of representing the Congress of the United States at the G20 meeting, which largely, it's always about security, economy, and governance, specifically focused on COVID and climate.
What has COVID and climate got to do with security, the economy, and governance?
In this case, and then in addition to being part of that opening, to also participate in the opening ceremonies of the pre-COP26 session of the legislators gathered there.
This is her opening, and she is struggling. She's struggling to find the right words, and this is meant to be her opening statement. So this should be written down.
It was particularly exciting because while we were there, the announcement of the Nobel Prize winners for physics was named, and one of them was an Italian who then participated in the opening ceremonies as well because he received it. I won't try to describe it to you. Never try to describe why somebody gets a Nobel Prize in physics, but it relates to climate and his early understanding of how things are interconnected. George Parisi is his name, and it was such an honor to be on an opening ceremony with him, showing us a path for what we must do in addition to what we know from our experience, but knowing it from the standpoint of physics. It was
the problem with climate or the climate activists is that it seems to be in 10 years or in 8 years we're going to reach a tipping point. Well, they've been saying that from the 60s.
It was interesting because every country is ready. We're all sort of measuring each other's commitment to meeting our emissions goals, and the president's is a strong one. Basically, what we said at this meeting is that America is back. That's exactly the message of President Biden, back in terms of multilateralism, back in terms of the transatlantic charter, which was an important part of our discussions, as well as back in terms of leading the way. Again,
leading the way by leaving Afghanistan and not telling anybody else, so they had to scramble to try and get their people out. And they still did a better job than the US did.
And on the climate crisis, his is not only to meet the Paris goals, but to beat them. And we would have over a 50% goal by 2030.
Unless you're going to go nuclear, you're not going to meet it. The best the world has done recently in dropping the emissions is when everyone was locked down. So that's what you'd have to do full time, and it still wouldn't meet the emissions that you need.
100% by 2050. Part of the commitment, in addition to meeting our own goals, is to make sure we help developing countries with the technology and resources to meet theirs. They are not responsible for many of the emissions, but they pay a big price in terms of rising sea levels, encroachment of deserts, melting of glaciers, drying up of rivers and the rest
What rising sea levels?
that have an impact on their lives. It's a very big issue. The World Health Organization has just issued something within the last 24 hours, I believe. I saw it when I got off the plane that they think that the climate issue is the biggest health challenge that we.
World Health Organization is meant to do with health, as in disease and stuff like that. It's not meant to do with climate change. Climate's change. It's what it does. That's why millions of years ago there was an ice age, and that's why it got warmer again and got rid of the ice age. It happens.
We have. And it is a health issue. Clean air, clean water for our children. It's a jobs issue. Good green jobs for many new people, many
Green jobs, okay, they're new kind of jobs, but they'll take away from jobs that you got here now. So it's not really a jobs issue.
more people to take advantage of the opportunities they present. It's a national security issue, as our foreign policy experts tell us, that the competition for habitat, resources, etc., is a security issue.
That is garbage. Either you're lying or they're lying or you're both lying, but that is absolute crap.
Because of the migrations that it may cause from
Stop people at the border then.
drought and famine and all the rest, natural disasters that spring from that.
The natural disasters, they may be getting worse, but this is not to do with any of your global warming crap. This is because it goes through phases.
But it is a moral issue as well. We have a moral responsibility to pass this planet on in a responsible way to future generations.
Again, that is garbage. If you want moral issues, start by stopping abortion.
And that was much of the conversation I was able to have with His Holiness Pope Francis. It was so thrilling to bring the greetings of the Congress to His Holiness, to thank him for his strong message on climate, Laudato Si, his first encyclical, which he spoke about when he spoke to the Congress in a joint session.
See, that is why this Pope is such a fraud. He is not meant to be a social justice warrior.
5 years ago, and to continue on that conversation as we prepare for COP26 in Glasgow.
Again, I've mentioned on another video, that's a global warming thing where people from all around the world are going to fly on their jets that you say increase global warming to go to a meeting to talk about how great they are at stopping global warming. Zoom calls, that's what it's all about nowadays.
It was just a remarkable experience to have that private audience with His Holiness, and again to bring the thanks and gratitude of our colleagues and his blessings.
Did you ask him what he thought of abortion? I know you're a pro-abortion Catholic.
Back to us. Then I went to, as in the region, to join a congressional delegation, a bipartisan delegation in Portugal for the NATO meeting. The other was G20, et cetera, and this was the NATO meeting, presided over by our own Jerry Connolly. Congressman Connolly of Virginia has been elected for the entire NATO Parliamentary Assembly. He is the president of it, so he presided over the presentations by the president of Portugal, the prime minister, the speaker, and of course the secretary general of the of NATO. It was, and I had the privilege once again to address them and talk about women in security, and I was honored to receive their first award in that regard, because women in security are one of the answers to it. And so in any event, if you want, I can talk.
What is she talking about? Women's security and answers to it. This lady is not making sense.
To you more about that. The whole time, though, we were all focused on building back better.
Again, building back better is everywhere. A lot of politicians seem to be using this. What does it mean? Give the people an explanation of what it means.
The Europeans and others from all over the world, the G20, were interested in what was happening here. And of course, these discussions went into the nights because of the time difference. We have some important decisions to make.
What do you mean they went into the night because of the time difference? You are over there in their time zone, so why is it going into the night? Because of the time difference.
In the next few days so that we can proceed. I'm very disappointed that we're not going with the original $3.5 trillion, which was very transformative. But
Yeah, transformative. It's transforming the United States as it is, or or as it has been. I mean, why are you so desperate to spend $3.5 trillion that the country does not have? It means you're going to have to print the money and inflation will go up.
in the whatever we do, we'll make decisions that will continue to be transformative about women in the workplace. So
What do you need to transform about women in the workplace?
transformed because of childcare and universal pre-K, which sort of go together. The child tax credit, home health care workers, men benefit too, but largely women, and women are
You have to add it in there because you're trying not to be sexist. Oh, I'm men get something as well. Look, you're just trying to spend more money. Quit it. Let the states deal with that crap. That should not be a federal thing.
those caregivers as well. So not only to free up women to go into the workplace for their own professions and interest, but also to recognize the work that women do in providing that health care, issues that relate to family and medical leave, and the rest. The Build Back Better is three baskets. It's climate, which we spent some time talking about already, health, jobs, security, and moral responsibility. It's health care, the issues that relate to the Affordable Care Act, Medicare and Medicaid, and family care. I mentioned some of those issues already. And
You mentioned more than 5 things so far. And is health the same as healthcare and family care, or is that different?
so, whatever we do, it will be transformative, it will produce results. And
Why is your whole thing about transformative? Why do you want to transform how things are in the United States? If you don't like it, get the hell out of here.
are very grateful to our president for saying, I want to pass the bipartisan legislation on infrastructure, but I will not confine my vision for the future to what can be in that bill. Hence, we need the Build Back Better.
Again, what is Build Back Better? It sounds like it's a back way around going through Congress. That's the way you just explained it. If it's not in the bill, I'll Build Back Better it.
In addition to that, of course, and that again, let me just say that's really a very important jobs bill. It's a jobs bill, and it's a bill about our children, and it is about our values.
So this bill so far has been jobs, children, infrastructure. I think she's mentioned health. She's mentioned climate control. How about doing one bill per one subject? A jobs bill that is just about jobs, a climate bill that is just about climate, an infrastructure bill that is just about building roads and bridges. If you do it like that and pass them separately, then people know what they're getting instead of doing a 3,000 page document and hiding things in the middle of it.
So I'm pretty excited about the prospect that we have to make some difficult decisions, of course, because we had fewer resources, but nonetheless, no
You've got fewer resources than when.
diminishing of our commitment to a transformative agenda for the children.
Again, what are you trying to transform?
As you know, we're back today to do the debt ceiling, and this will go until nearly $500 billion until December 3rd. In the meantime, we'll be working to try to have bipartisanship as we always have had.
So you need $500 billion more for just less than 2 months. What the hell are you going to be spending in the next 2 months?
on legislation. I just want to, let me just say some of the things that could happen if we do not achieve that. We could, if we don't lift the ceiling, it could be a loss of 6 million jobs.
Oh no. There'll be government jobs. We could do with losing those jobs. There is plenty of non-government jobs out there that these people can go to.
$15 trillion in household wealth, and
Where's that? Why are you losing that $15 trillion in wealth? Unless you're on about the stock market. People know the risks of the stock market. That's up to them.
drastically increase the cost. Do you have a credit card? Do you have a car loan? Car loans, mortgages, student loans, credit cards, and other borrowing.
Why are you trying to scare people? Why are you trying to scare people to try and get their government official to raise the debt, which is going to destroy the economy anyway? As you well know, if you don't know, then get the hell out of government and let someone who knows what they're doing in there.
So domestically, and when I say domestically, I don't just mean within the United States, I mean at the kitchen table domestically. It will
So your kitchen table's not in the United States. Where is your kitchen table?
have a tremendous impact. It's about the economy, bigger, preventing decline in the GDP of up to 4%.
Again, you can destroy the economy by spending all this money and printing all this money.
GDP could go down, and a surge in the unemployment rate as the economy. Right now, we're recovering from a pandemic. We don't need that.
You have also got 10 million jobs that you can't fill. So maybe some of the 6 million who lose jobs will get some of those 10 million jobs, and hopefully more people will get it, especially if they don't get any unemployment benefits.
And then, just to say what it does globally, a default would send shockwaves through global financial markets.
Why would America default? The first thing that they have to pay legally is for security, so the military. Second thing they have to pay legally, according to US law, is their bills. So they will not default, they will pay them. They just may not pay you.
And would likely cause credit markets worldwide to freeze up and stock markets to plunge. Employers around the world would likely have to begin laying off workers. Again, this is a report from the White House on that.
So a report from the White House who wants a raise in the debt ceiling is being used as the uh, reason why the debt ceiling needs raised. It's like someone at college handing in an assignment to themselves so they can mark it. So, I mean, you're talking garbage. You are making no sense. And when your words do actually make sense, you're just saying, "Well, we're deciding what we're going to tell you what's going to go badly, so you can give us some money." And there's no outside entities verifying any of this.
I refer you to that. And again, it's about kitchen table, it's about our economy, global economy, but it's also about our Constitution, which says the full faith and credit of the United States shall not be in doubt.
Really, when the US went off the gold standard, I think that was under Nixon. That's when the full faith and credit of the US has been in doubt. Since then, you've been printing money since then. I was going to say not you personally, but you've probably been in since then. So, and you don't care about the people in the United States. So you don't care about the kitchen table. You probably don't care about the United States. You want the world economy to be good.
14th Amendment, Section 4. So,
I am shocked that you even know any of the Constitution. Or did you just read that up to try and uh, did you read that up to fake how it's meant to be? Or did you just read up on that so you could mislead people by misquoting it?
is the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law shall not be questioned. Okay? Got any questions?
Yeah, why wouldn't you pay that before you paid yourself if you care so much about it? Again, the order is security, which is the military, and then the debts. That's what that amendment's all about.
Let me see how to reward those who are here the most. That's the way it goes. Well, let me talk with some of the women first, and I'll come back to you, Mom.
That is very sexist of you.
The supply chain that we're seeing right now, the disruptions that are going on. Right now, we're seeing our American ports that are running at 60% capacity. But the problem is right now that we're closing at night and on Sundays. And do you think that the president right now should be talking to the unions and perhaps asking them to loosen up some of their worker regulations as to when they should be working so they can be working more often and we should be able to start our supply chain?
Well, the supply chain issue is not just an issue of what happens here. The supply chain is an issue globally.
What she's trying to say is outside the port of Los Angeles, there is 50, 60, 70, 100 ships waiting because they can't get in. So what she's saying is, will you allow the ports to open longer or try and persuade the unions to get the ports open longer so we can get the crap in here? She doesn't care about how it's coming here. She knows that there's a line outside the United States.
And that was something that we talked about at the meeting because there are obstructions in other countries of product even making it to the ships to come to our country. Yeah, we've got to address that issue because it has a direct impact on everything because we are so dependent on global trade.
Exactly, that's half the issue. America can do everything itself. It grows everything it needs, it can produce everything it needs. But you won't do that, or people don't want to pay those kind of prices.
And our trade going out as well. Yes, sir.
Speaking of your letter last night to the caucus, you
Yes.
said that you may need to do fewer things well. That was the guidance you got from the members. So are you suggesting that this package may ultimately drop either universal pre-K, child tax credit expansion, tuition-free community college, paid family leave, or even the Medicare expansion?
Well, let me just say that at $3.5 trillion, we were doing everything well. So not a question of
You lie. You're the government. The government doesn't do anything well.
now we're doing it well because it's less money. But the fact is that if there are fewer dollars to spend, there are choices to be made. And members have said, let's get the results that we need, but we will not diminish the transformative nature of what it is. And it is, some members have written back to me and said, I want to do everything. So we'll have that discussion. But again, in the family section of it, the transformative nature of the Biden child tax credit, child care, and
Reported with the New York Times.
Hold it like this?
universal pre.
Again, you're going to call it the Biden child tax credit. Why do you have to name these things after the presidents? I mean, this is such a vanity thing. Do things right, don't care who gets the credit for it, and make a better country. Or get the hell out and let somebody else do it.
Pre-K really go together. That's sort of they go together. They're part of the same, meeting the same need. Issues that relate to home health care. There's certain things that we're still talking about a couple $1 trillion, but it's not, it's more, it's much less.
I mean, she's talking about a couple of $1 trillion like it's a couple of $1,000. I mean, when Obamacare came through, they did their damnedest to make sure it came under $1 trillion because no one would want to pass a bill that big. Now she's talking about $1 trillion like it's for the government a couple of million. It is ridiculous what lack of respect this lady has for money and for where the money comes from and for what issues it's going to do printing all this money.
So mostly we would be cutting back on years and something like that. But those are decisions that we have to.
Cutting back on years. That was a smart little wordplay there because if it's $3.5 trillion over 10 years, they'll say, okay, we'll do it $1.7 trillion over 5 years. Then in 5 years' time, they'll do another 1.7 trillion. So they get the same amount of money. This has got to be watched.
Do you think?
Excuse me?
Would you have to drop one of those programs?
Well, we hope not. We hope not. But
What she's saying is, hell no, we aren't dropping a program. We'll just drop the amount of years. And you won't notice it just automatically renewing.
we have to make sure we have a bill, which I also said is that we have to have something that will pass the House and pass the Senate. Pass the House and pass the Senate. And I'm not asking members to vote for something
And they're trying to pass it through quickly before they lose control of them both.
that has no chance to pass in the Senate.
You've done several bills that have no chance of passing in the Senate, just to blame Republicans for it not passing. You are two-faced little... Yeah.
I'm optimistic that we will get to where we need to be in timely fashion. Yes.
Do you think, two-part question, do you think,
Two parts allowed? I mean, there are a lot of questions here.
do you believe you'll get this done this month still? And also on the debt limit, are you still of the view that you should not do this as part of reconciliation?
Yeah, I did tell you that, didn't I?
No, I don't think you did, actually. I think you said,
Well, you asked me and you forgot. You said, are you going to do it in reconciliation? I said, no.
well, it's only extended for about a month.
Maybe I didn't recognize you with the name.
Is it,
Yeah, no, I'm optimistic that these decisions have to be made. There's been a lot of discussion and
The decisions have to be made, but she doesn't like it when the decision is no. That's still a decision made.
we are a Democratic Party. We are not a rubber stamp or a lockstep party. We have
You lying... Yeah, I really try not to swear on this. But you lying piece of garbage. The only reason you haven't passed all this is because of one person. And he's probably only doing it to get stuff for his state. And to show his state that he stood up for a little while until you knocked the price down a little bit. And you knocked the price down by knocking the years down.
have our discussions, and I'm very proud of the values that all the members have brought to the table, the knowledge of the issues that they're advancing, that they bring, and the realization that even at 3.5, you have to make decisions. So again, we have to make tighter decisions. Now, in my last letter previous to this one, I said, everybody sharpen your pencil. I mean, it's an old phrase. Nobody uses a pencil anymore, I guess, but sharpen your pencil, literally, figuratively.
You do not have to explain sayings to people.
In any other way. But I'm optimistic, yeah. In terms of the debt ceiling, well, we're just hoping that we can do this in a bipartisan way. There are all kinds of...
What if you can't do it in a bipartisan way? You're hoping you can, but what if you can't? What will you do to get around all this garbage and to do it on your own anyway? This is why nobody trusts any party.
suggestions that members have. One that really was endorsed a while back by Mitch McConnell, but who knows, who knows.
He's a lying turd as well.
But it was the manifestation of it now, Mr. Yarmouth and Mr. Boyle have put forth, puts the responsibility on the Secretary of the Treasury to make the determination to lift the debt ceiling. That decision could be overruled by the Congress. It would take 60 votes under the present custom, but nonetheless, Congress would have
By custom, you mean rule. But okay.
to overrule that. That seems to have some appeal to both sides of the aisle because of the consequences to people of not lifting it. But why would many Democrats and Republicans have voted against lifting the debt ceiling, but never to the extent of jeopardizing it. This is the first time.
Are you for that idea? Are you in favor of that idea?
I think it has merit. Yes, I do think it has merit. But in the meantime, we're going to pass a bill today to take us to December with the hope that when people realize what the implications of are. This is not a technical thing. Has ramifications, as I say.
But you're assuming that people don't know the ramifications. But the ramifications could be worse by keeping raising the debt limit and let you guys um, spend money like drunken sailors.
From the kitchen table to our
Quit mentioning the kitchen table. You probably haven't been near a kitchen table in a long time, or at least not to cook anything.
economy, to global and constitutional. Yeah.
Again, don't even lie and say that you believe in the Constitution. You guys have broken the Constitution so many times, we know you don't believe in it.
Speaker Pelosi, one of the pay-fors in the Build Back Better bill that's been proposed is IRS cracking down on some unpaid taxes. Banks are starting to get calls from customers, and they're reporting these calls. They're concerned about this tracking of transactions that is greater than $600.
Yeah, what about the Fourth Amendment here, lady?
So Americans are starting to be worried about this. Do you think that this pay-for of giving the IRS more money to crack down on unpaid taxes is going to stay in the reconciliation bill? And what do you say to Americans who are concerned about that?
Yes. Well, I mean, with all due respect.
What she's just about to say in a sneaky way is, I don't care.
The plural of anecdote is not data. I've said that before here. Yes, there are concerns that some people have, but if people are breaking the law and not paying...
Forget that. What Fourth Amendment? You need a warrant to look at my banking records.
Their taxes, one way to track them is through the banking measure. I think 600, but that's a negotiation.
So what she's saying is if $600 goes into your account, I get paid more than that every week. But if $600 goes into your account, then they can track that bank account because you might be avoiding paying taxes. If $600 comes out of your account, my rent's more than that, so that's once a month for me. If $600 or more comes out of your account, they can track your account. So they can track my account every week and every month. And this is, it's against the Constitution. It needs to be challenged.
That will go on as to what the amount is. But yes.
Madam Speaker.
But these people in the front row have an advantage here. You go.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Our latest CBS News poll shows that only about 10% of Americans describe themselves as knowing a lot of specific things that are in the reconciliation package.
And she's probably pissed because that's too many people. She doesn't want anyone to know what's in the bill.
And that the majority don't know anything at all. So do you think you need to do a better job at messaging, and going forward, how do you sell this if ultimately you have to...
Well, I think you all could do a better job of selling it, to be very frank with you, because every time I come here, I go through the list. Family and medical leave, climate, the issues that...
They do sell everything for the Democratic Party. Don't you ever watch their shows?
are in there. And but it is true, it is hard to break through when you have such a comprehensive package.
That's why you do smaller packages.
But as we narrow it down and put it out there, I think that it will. For example, one of the things in the bill is the continuation of the Biden tax credit, that is child tax credit, that is in the was in the rescue package. That has great appeal. Do people know where it springs from? No, but it is a vast bill. It has a lot in it, and we'll have to continue to make sure the public does. But whether they
like the Obamacare bill, it's too big a bill.
Know it or not, they overwhelmingly support it.
How can you support something you don't know?
And by the way, women much more than men.
Again, are you saying women are dumber because they're supporting something that they don't know?
And like the infrastructure, this one here.
Madam Speaker, be the first to go to get the price down to the price of the package down?
Excuse me?
What would be the first to go to get the price of the package down?
She's going to say nothing. She does not want anything to go. She'll just drop the years.
You must be kidding. That's a negotiation. That's not something that I would be announcing here, and I don't even know what that would be. No, what would be the first go? But would be probably in timing, that the timing would be reduced.
See, what did I say?
in many cases to make the cost lower. But it only would be in such a way that does not undermine the transformative nature of it.
Again, why do you want to transform everything? You're not there to transform everything. That is not your job.
Because some of it has to have enough money in order to have sustainability that can be counted on.
What she's saying is she can lower the years, but you have to have enough money to start it up so it can't be stopped, so you have to continue doing it.
So again, the first thing would be timing. Thank you. Thank you all.